While walking our dog, my neighbor leaned over the fence and said, "You're taking this better than I expected." I had no idea what he meant until he asked if I'd seen the photos of my wife. Tagged. Hotel room. Lingerie. The comments? That's what really changed everything. My name's Jake. I'm 33 years old, live in a mid-sized town just outside St. Louis, and I thought I had a pretty average life. Nothing flashy. I've been married to Emily for a little over 4 years. We had our routines, morning coffee, walking our golden retriever Toby after work, grocery runs on Sundays. Comfortable, boring, safe. Or at least, I thought so. It was a Saturday morning in mid-October. The air was just crisp enough to remind you summer was dead, and fall had fully taken over. I'd been up early to take Toby for a walk like always. That dog's got an internal clock more reliable than any alarm. Emily was still asleep when I left. Curled up under the weighted blanket she insisted we get because anxiety doesn't sleep in. The irony. Anyway, I clipped Toby's leash, tossed on my hoodie, and headed out. The neighborhood was still half asleep, early golden sun slipping between the houses. We were rounding the corner near Mr. Wallace's place when his back gate creaked open. That's when it happened. He leaned on the fence like he was waiting for me. This older guy, retired veteran type, always wore the same faded Cardinals cap like it was stitched to his head. "You're talking this better than I expected," he said casually. I paused, genuinely confused. "What do you mean?" He blinked like I was the crazy one. "You haven't seen the Facebook photos?" And before I could even process the sentence, he gave this awkward little shrug and backed away. My chest got tight. Like, physically tight. My legs just kept walking on autopilot, but my brain was lagging 10 seconds behind. Photos? What photos? What the hell was he talking about? The second I got home, I unhooked Toby, gave him a treat to keep him busy, and pulled out my phone. I opened Facebook, went to Emily's profile. Nothing unusual at first, but then I checked her tagged photos. That's when the bottom fell out. There she was, my wife, in a hotel room, dressed in burgundy-laced lingerie I didn't recognize, sitting cross-legged on a white bed with champagne glasses beside her. The lighting was soft, romantic. Her smile wasn't the kind you give your husband. The tag read, "Weekend to remember," but it wasn't from her. It was from someone named Blake. I clicked the tag. His profile was private, but his profile picture was enough. A guy in a pressed suit, hair slicked back, posing beside Emily in what looked like the same hotel room. His hand was around her waist. Too familiar. Too natural. Then I started reading the comments. That's when the real cracks formed. Her friends, our friends, were commenting fire emojis, heart eyes, and inside jokes like, "About time you went public, and you two are dangerous together, lol." Dangerous? One of them wrote, "He glowed you up, girl. Can't believe you waited this long." Another said, "So this is the Blake?" And the worst one, the one that made my stomach turn, just said, "Does Jake know?" It felt like someone dropped a concrete block on my chest. The photos were bad, but the comments? That's what really destroyed me. Because they weren't surprised. They weren't shocked. They were celebrating. I sat there frozen on the edge of our bed, phone still in my hand, heart racing. In the other room, Emily was still asleep, snoring lightly like nothing had happened. Like she hadn't detonated a bomb in our life while I was out walking our dog. I didn't know what to do. Didn't know who to call. I just knew something was going on. And if her friends were congratulating her, it meant this wasn't a one-time mistake. It was a secret life, a planned one, and I was the last idiot to find out. I got up slowly, walked to the bathroom, splashed water on my face. Then I looked at myself in the mirror and muttered, "What the hell is going on?" But I already knew the answer. Whatever this was, it wasn't new, and I was about to find out just how far it had gone. Emily was still asleep when I walked out of the bathroom, my mind racing. I wasn't going to confront her, not yet. Something about the look on her face in those photos made me feel like a stranger in my own house. I needed more. Something solid. Something I could look at later and remind myself I wasn't imagining any of this. So I did something I'd never done in 4 years of marriage. I went through her things. I knew her passcode. Same one she'd used since college. 0624, her late grandmother's birthday. Her iPad was charging on her desk in the office, right where she always left it. I picked it up, locked the door behind me, and sat down. First stop? Messages. Nothing unusual. No text from anyone named Blake. Then I remembered. Emily always used Instagram for messaging her friends. Cleaner, she used to say. More private. Right. I opened the Instagram app, and there it was. A whole thread of DMs between her and Blake, stretching back months. Voice notes, screenshots, private jokes. There were videos. Her in a robe, in what I now recognized was a hotel room. Her saying, "You should have come to Cabo that time," would have made this easier. I felt my throat tighten. One of the voice messages played without warning. Her voice, soft and flirty. He still thinks I'm working late tonight. You've got 2 hours, tops. The timestamp was from 3 nights ago. But it wasn't just the messages that got me. It was a group chat titled Escape Plan. There were 6 women in it, including Emily. All names I recognized. One of them had been in our wedding party. They were talking about me. Scrolling up, I found screenshots of texts I'd sent Emily. Hey, dinner's ready, or wanna watch something tonight, followed by her replies like, ugh, he's so clingy today, or wish I was with you instead. And then came the kicker. One of the girls wrote, so when's the official move-in day with Blake? Emily replied, next weekend, if everything goes smooth. Just gotta keep things quiet until then. I stared at that message like it was written in another language. Move-in day? Next weekend? I was supposed to go on a work trip next Friday. She even helped me pack last time. This time, apparently, she was going to use my absence to leave me. Just like that. I kept reading. The other girls hyped her up. You deserve this. Jake's not even in your league anymore. Blake looks like a man, not a dad. That last one made my hand twitch. I wasn't even a father. We'd been trying for almost 2 years, and I thought it was just bad timing. Turns out, the woman who claimed to want a family with me had been building an exit strategy for months, documented in a chat thread like it was a damn group project. I don't know how long I sat there, rereading the same messages, but I remember the numbness. Like I was floating above my own body, watching some other guy realize his entire life was a lie. Eventually, I closed the app. I backed out of everything, set the iPad down exactly where I found it, and walked out of the office. Emily was up now, hair messy, wearing one of my old t-shirts. She smiled at me. Morning, babe. I nodded. Coffee? She offered, already moving toward the machine. I watched her pour the grounds, humming some tune, completely unaware that I now knew she had a bag packed somewhere, that she had plans drawn up, that she wasn't planning on telling me anything. And for the first time since I met her, I felt absolutely nothing. Not rage, not heartbreak, just cold, clinical clarity. She was gone already. She just hadn't moved out yet. I needed to think smart. I needed to move faster than her. And I needed help. But not from friends. I didn't trust a single one of them anymore. That's when I remembered something, Blake's last name. I'd seen it briefly on a forwarded Venmo payment. And suddenly, I had a new plan. Find Blake. And more importantly, find his ex-wife. Because if Emily was planning an escape, it was time someone shut the tunnel before she made it out. I waited until Monday to make my move. I knew if I rushed it, I'd miss something. Emily was still pretending everything was fine. She kissed me on the cheek before she left for yoga, made a smoothie, even laughed when Toby tried to steal her sock. I think that's what made it worse. She was good at it. Too good. But so was I. I stayed home that morning, told my office I had car trouble and needed to work remote. The second she left, I opened my laptop and went digging. Blake's last name had popped up on a Venmo transaction, Blake W. Drinks. I remembered it clearly. Now I used that to look him up. Didn't take long. Corporate guy. Some kind of regional sales manager. Private Instagram, but LinkedIn was wide open. And through that, I found her. Monica W. His ex-wife. Her page was public. And what really caught my attention? Her pinned post from 8 months ago. A photo of her, captioned, healing after betrayal isn't linear. But it is necessary. I clicked through the comments, hoping for clues. One of them caught my eye. You deserve way better than her. Her. Not him. Something about that didn't sit right. I sent her a message. Kept it simple. Hi Monica. I know this might be strange, but I think my wife might be involved with your ex-husband. If you're open to talking, I think we both might have some puzzle pieces the other person is missing. I expected silence. Or maybe a polite brush-off. Instead, she replied 6 minutes later. Is your wife's name Emily? That was all. I replied yes. And then the floodgates opened. We got on a call later that afternoon. I hadn't heard that kind of quiet fury in a voice since my mom's face when I totaled her car in high school. Monica didn't hold back. Apparently, Emily had been reaching out to Blake months before their divorce was even finalized, playing the "we ran into each other accidentally" card. According to Monica, there was no accident. She messaged him out of the blue, she told me. Said she saw he was going through a rough patch, wanted to catch up. Next thing I know, he's defending her more than me, telling me I was cold, that I didn't support him. Monica had the screenshots to prove it. She forwarded me a thread of messages. Emily complaining about me, saying I was emotionally stunted, unambitious, comfortable being small. That one hit hard. She told Blake you were controlling, Monica added. That you checked her phone, tracked her car, made her feel trapped in a glass cage. That's the phrase she used. I felt my jaw clench. I'd never tracked Emily's phone a day in my life. I barely checked her location unless she asked me to. I trusted her. She wanted me to trust her. And now I was the villain in someone else's fairy tale. She turned my husband against me, Monica said, her voice cracking. And the worst part? He believed her. He believed every word. She paused, then added something that chilled me. She's not just cheating, Jake. She's rebuilding. She does this. She burns the bridge behind her and acts like she was pushed. That sentence stuck with me. We talked for over an hour. She showed me Venmo receipts, hotel bookings, messages between Blake and Emily where they mocked their boring exes and called themselves the real grown-ups. I asked Monica if she had anything else that might help me legally. That's when she dropped the biggest bomb. She's signing a lease with him next weekend, she said. Blake told me during one of our custody drop-offs. Said he wanted to warn me so I wouldn't freak out. Wait, I said slowly. What lease? 2-bedroom condo in the city. She's moving in with him, Jake. Didn't she tell you? My throat went dry. No, she hadn't. She was planning to move in with another man and hadn't said a word. In fact, she was acting more affectionate lately. I thought maybe we were reconnecting. Turns out, she was buttering the bread before she disappeared. There was a long silence. Then Monica said quietly, "If I were you, I'd stop playing defense." And just like that, I knew exactly what I had to do. Because Emily didn't just betray me. She had rewritten our marriage like it was a bad chapter in her autobiography. And now it was my turn to write the ending. After that call with Monica, I didn't sleep. Not because I was up crying or pacing or punching walls. No, I was focused. Obsessed, maybe. For the first time in days, I had direction. A goal. I wasn't going to confront Emily with shouting and accusations. No, she'd rehearsed for that. I was going to let her walk into her own trap. And the first thing I needed was proof. The next morning, I got into our joint bank account. At first glance, everything looked normal. Grocery charges, gas station receipts, a few Amazon orders. But then I dug deeper, into transfers. A $2,500 withdrawal labeled personal savings account. I never made that. Another $1,200 labeled rent holding deposit. That's when I felt it. The exact moment I realized how thoroughly she'd been preparing her exit. She wasn't just emotionally leaving. She was financially extracting herself from our marriage. I pulled statements from the last 6 months. Multiple, recurring transfers to an account I didn't recognize. The bank flagged it as a linked external account. I knew what that meant. Emily had set up a private account and had been bleeding our joint funds into it for months, slowly enough to avoid suspicion, but steadily enough to create a soft landing for herself once she left. I called the bank, had them freeze the account temporarily, citing suspected fraud. That gave me time to redirect my paycheck into a new personal account and shut down her access to everything with my name on it. She'd already planned her new life. But now, I'd removed the welcome mat. Next, I went into legal prep mode. I called an old college friend, Mason. He worked at a boutique law firm downtown, mostly handling divorce cases and asset protection. We met for lunch the next day. I laid it all out, screenshots, voice messages, group chat excerpts, transaction records. Everything Monica had shared. Everything I'd found on my own. Mason leaned back in the booth, hands folded. "She's trying to set you up to look like the one who failed," he said. "This isn't just infidelity, it's a slow erasure. She's going to gaslight you when you confront her, then flip the narrative once she's gone." "I know," I said. "That's why I need to beat her to the punch." "Then here's what you're going to do," he said. "You're going to stay quiet. Pretend nothing's changed. Keep smiling. Act like she's won. While we draw up the paperwork." He told me I could serve her preemptively, beat her to court, file for divorce citing marital misconduct, and include the financial discrepancies. And with enough evidence, I could even request Toby's custody, since technically, I was the one who adopted him before we were married. That was the moment I knew she wouldn't just lose me. She might lose the only thing she never thought I'd take, Toby. That night, Emily came home humming again. She kissed me on the cheek, tossed her gym bag down, and asked if I wanted Chinese or Thai for dinner. I looked at her. This woman who had been lying to my face for months, who had weaponized my loyalty, who had watched me walk our dog every morning while texting another man about the day she'd leave. I smiled. "Let's do Thai." She smiled back like nothing was wrong. I helped her pick a show to watch, ate dinner with her on the couch, laughed at some dumb joke she made about the fortune cookies. And then, while she was brushing her teeth, I opened my notes app and typed a sentence that had been burning in my head since the day this all began. "You're not walking away clean. You just haven't noticed the mud on your heels yet." Because in 5 days, while she thought I was flying out of town for work, she was going to bring Blake into our house again. And this time, I was going to record everything. Friday came faster than I expected. Emily was in a great mood that morning. She even made me breakfast, eggs, toast, that same smoothie blend she always made during clean resets. It was almost laughable, watching her act like the perfect wife. She asked if I had everything packed for my trip. I nodded, told her the presentation was a big one, and I'd probably be gone all weekend. She kissed me goodbye, reminded me to text when I land. I told her I'd try. I didn't go to the airport. Instead, I drove 2 towns over and checked into a short-term rental I'd booked under a friend's name. It had fast Wi-Fi, a direct line of sight to the indoor cameras I'd installed the week before, disguised in smoke detectors, picture frames, even a smart speaker. All legal, by the way. It was my house, my property. She hadn't noticed a thing. By noon, I had my laptop open, screen split between live feeds from our kitchen, hallway, and living room. I didn't have to wait long. At 12:43 p.m., the front door opened. She walked in first, Emily, wearing that black floral dress she always said made her feel dangerous. The irony didn't escape me. Behind her, Blake, in a fitted navy suit, sunglasses on his head like he'd just walked out of a magazine shoot. He had my dog's leash in his hand. Toby barked once, then seemed confused. He didn't go to Blake. Just stood there, watching. Good boy. Emily poured wine. They laughed. She sat on the couch, curled up next to him like it was second nature. Then came the part one didn't expect. She walked over to our bookshelf, reached behind a row of old paperbacks, and pulled out a manila envelope. I zoomed in. It had my name written on it. She handed it to Blake. He looked at her, grinned, and said, "You sure he won't flip out?" She replied, "He's not like that. He'll just shut down. He always does." That was it. That was the final nail. She'd written my reaction before I could even give it. I hit record. The next morning, I was sitting in a conference room with Mason, my lawyer. We had printed screenshots, transcripts of the group chat, financial records, even stills from the live footage. Mason was impressed. "This is textbook marital misconduct," he said. "No judge is going to look at this and side with her." We finalized the divorce filing, requested full ownership of the house. It had been my inheritance, anyway, an emergency temporary custody of Toby. And then we filed. She was served the next day, Monday morning. Not at home. At Blake's office. Mason said timing was everything. If we served her at home, she'd spin it. Cry. Pretend to be blindsided. But at Blake's office? Midday? No time to plan. No audience she could control. She was in a glass conference room when the courier walked in. Envelope in hand. I watched from my car across the street. She looked up. Read the name on the envelope. Her face dropped. Eyes flicked toward Blake, then to the door, like maybe she could still run. Too late. She opened it. Inside was a copy of the divorce petition, financial fraud documentation, proof of infidelity, and a formal request for Toby's full custody. And, just because I couldn't help myself, I added a printed photo. From the camera footage. Her, holding the wine glass. Laughing. Captioned, "Smile for the camera." I haven't spoken to her since. She tried calling. Left voicemails. Sent texts. They started polite. Then got desperate. Then angry. One of them just said, "You blindsided me." In front of him. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. Because she wasn't the only one who could plan an exit. She just never expected me to be the one walking out first. The day after she was served, the house was quiet. It was strange. No blender whirring in the kitchen. No TikTok audio looping from her phone. No heels clacking down the hallway. Just me and Toby, stretched out on the living room floor, listening to birds outside the window. Emily hadn't come home. She didn't have to. Her stuff was gone. The drawers she once stuffed with skincare and overpriced hair products? Empty. The closet where she'd carefully hung her business casual outfits and that red coat she said made her feel like a CEO? Bare. She took it all. What she didn't take. The wedding album. She left that behind. Tucked into the bottom shelf of the nightstand like it was too heavy to carry. I didn't open it. I didn't need to anymore. Word spread fast. People I hadn't heard from in months started messaging me. Some of them were our mutual friends, friends I'd assumed were in on it. Turns out, not all of them were. One guy from her old job wrote, "Man, I'm sorry. I didn't know she was doing all that. I thought Blake was just a client or something. Can't believe it." Her sister reached out too. She'd seen the messages I forwarded to Emily's parents, especially the ones from the escape plan group chat. Apparently, Emily's mother cried when she read them. Her sister said, "She always treated you like a backup plan. We tried to warn her. She just laughed and said, 'Jake'll get over it. He always does. Not this time.'" And Blake? From what I heard, his company wasn't thrilled that he was conducting a personal affair in a client-facing role, especially at work, during business hours. A month after the papers were served, he was quietly let go. LinkedIn now shows him as open to work. Emily sent me one last message. Not a call, just a long, rambling email with the subject line, "Can we talk?" It started civil. She said she missed Toby. Said she didn't expect things to unravel so fast. Then it shifted into familiar territory. "You blindsided me. You could have at least let me explain. This isn't how I wanted it to go." She closed with, "Part of me thought you'd fight for me." I read it once. then deleted it. Not because I wasn't angry anymore, but because the anger had nowhere left to go. She made her choice, and I finally made mine. These days, the house feels different. Cleaner, calmer. I got rid of the memory-soaked furniture, repainted the walls, even started sleeping better. Toby still waits by the door around 6 p.m., like he expects her to come home. But after a few minutes, he sighs and curls up by my feet instead. Smart dog. The crazy part? I'm not even sure I want revenge anymore. I got something better. Silence. Clarity. And finally, freedom. Because when you live with someone who lies for long enough, you forget what it feels like to breathe honestly. Now, I breathe easy. And that's the story. If you're still here, that means you're one of us. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. I drop new chaos every single day, and trust me, tomorrow's story, it's even worse than this one.